Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
You are listening to the Brilliance Business Show. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. Conversations with leading experts in business. And today I have an incredible guest, Gaelle Lebray. Gaelle is a Life Beyond Heartbreak coach, and our topic today is finding yourself again after heartbreak. Gaelle, welcome to the Brilliance Business Show.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for having me this morning. I'm really excited to be with you.
I'm really looking forward to a conversation with you today, Gaelle. Before I get started, I just need to make a legal disclaimer that Gaelle is not offering legal advice or legal assistance. So let's get started with the show. Gaelle, can you share with our listeners a little bit about yourself and your business?
Yes, most definitely, Mark. My name is Gaelle Lebray. I am the founder of Create Certainty Amidst Chaos. I am a #1 Amazon international bestseller, co-author of a book called Change Makers. It features transformational stories from women making an impact in the lives of others. I am an NLP, which is neuro-linguistic program licensed practitioner as well. And then beyond that, I am obviously a Life Beyond Heartbreak coach. And before becoming a coach, I worked in front office investment banking for 20 years, and I've always been client facing, and I absolutely love people and I relate to them well, and I understand their needs. And in my previous job, this was really important, along with adding value to my clients. But most importantly, establishing and gaining trust was key. And that's why I was so successful in my previous career. And people trust me because I have genuinely their best interest at heart. And on top of being very result driven, which may have been the product of my passion for triathlon and racing at international level and national level as an amateur for 28 years and achieving the highest title possible. So while in my previous career, about 10 years in, I think, I started mentoring people voluntarily. So either my equals or more junior than me. And that's how I discovered my passion for coaching. So that's why now I am a coach full time.
Well, when you have trust, like you mentioned, Gaelle, and you have people's best interests at heart, that is a recipe for success, because there are so many people just looking out for themselves. So when you come from the heart and you have best people's interests at heart, that is really the way to do business. Now, who are your clients? Who are your customers, Gaelle?
Yeah, so my clients, I would say, are the beautiful people, and they're recovering from a heartbreak. And often, well, most of the time, I would say, they feel lost. They feel stuck. They are kind of second guessing or doubting themselves each step of the way. They have lost themselves in the process of the heartbreak, trying to transition in a way from being a we to become an I and rebuild themselves. And they have a dream to be happy again and be in control of their life. They are just longing for that better life, and they want to feel empowered. They want to feel confident. They want to feel, that energy and get that excitement again, whilst they're feeling certain about their life direction. And that's how I help them regaining that confidence and that self-esteem and recreate themselves into their best self.
That is beautiful. And you mentioned heartbreak. What do you mean by heartbreak, Gaelle? When they come to see you, what kind of heartbreak are they going through?
So most of the time it would be heartbreak related to obviously a love relationship, but this can be taken in a wider context. So it could be, let's say, you have given birth to a company, right? and you really work hard for it, and it's like your little baby. And there is a point at one time where you might need to grow, you might need to have people investing, you might need to just, level up in a way. And suddenly you've got to give a bit of that control and even like give your baby away or participating in a different capacity. And sometimes this can cause a heartbreak, but it could also be a heartbreak related to sort of family or friendship or, someone who's been really meaningful in your life. So it doesn't have to be always love, but just to be, and it could be a pet as well. Sometimes people,
Yes.
have a pet as their family. So I know the most common sort of definition of what will pop up in people's mind is love about the other half, but it's not always the case. And that's why I want to widen the meaning.
I totally understand. Now, do you recall a specific aha moment that led to the launch of your business, Gaelle?
Yes, totally. In fact, a couple. I came back from a week-long intense seminar in Australia after what we would call a recent, very recent, it was just happened just before I left, deep traumatic heartbreak myself. And I started questioning my whole life. Literally, what was I doing? I had transition in a role internally, which wasn't for me at all, as sometimes my American clients said, didn't really blow their skirt off, and wasn't people oriented at all. So I was taking every opportunity during that job, because I had a lot less hours, 95 instead of my previous 14 hours a day, to really mentor and coach people. So I was reinvesting myself and doing that voluntarily on top of the job I was meant to do. And that really sort of gave me that nudge over of what my calling was in a sense, because before it was great and I loved the job I was doing before, but it wasn't making me feel that fulfilled. And when the management team started a business restructuring in my team, it just made sense to me to put my hands up and just say, you know what, I really want to go. I want to do my own thing. And they didn't want really me to go. They said, look internally for other things. It's a big, big company, right? So it makes you feel good for the ego. But I just knew in my heart here that this wasn't for me anymore. So I kind of looked internally, networked and everything, but I knew I was done. And so literally that day I decided I set up my company while transitioning out of my job and starting off, everything. And that's how I started. And then why I think being a coach is a privilege in a way that you get given, and it's about earning again people's trust, because they give you that permission to help them with the most transformational work. This is a big responsibility, but yet such a wonderful feeling. And I love seeing my client transforming, through the session and becoming their true self and rebuilding themselves with that unshakable certainty that where their future is going to be or where their future is. And I love seeing the fire in their eyes and, and their skin glow as you go through the session. And this feeling is the best feeling in the world. And I can't even describe it in a way. But once I really sort of put my hand up, that was it. I knew that's what was really putting myself, through and just being on fire about it.
I can hear in your voice, Gaelle, the passion and how you love serving others. What really motivates you to jump out of bed every morning?
Well, exactly what I've just mentioned, right? Having that fire in me, my belly, on how I can inspire and impact, people in a meaningful way and help them to turn their life around. And each client is different, and often they will come to me with one specific area they want to work on or be coached on. But often what happens is, and what is absolutely essential to understand, is that coaching isn't counseling and it's not psychotherapy either. Coaching is about taking someone from their present situation, and often there was nightmare situation, and getting them into their dream outcome. So we do not look backwards, we only move forward, which is amazing. It's good to know what's going on in their background, but you don't want to go there in a way. This is not the role of a coach. And often, as soon as we do that first clarity session together, it happens that what they need is not always what they had foreseen. And they come to that conclusion themselves. So I tend to work on sort of both topic in tandem, whatever they wanted to work on and whatever they kind of like discover they need to work on. And so, for example, I've had quite a few clients for who we worked on rebuilding them as they were really shaken up by their whole situation, particularly if they've been in a toxic or unhealthy sort of narcissistic type relationship. And I've had so many things to tackle along the way, with maybe them wanted to work on a work promotion or wanted to start a business. So each and every one of us obviously is different. And I am lucky enough that I get intuitively to understand how to guide my clients to be in a better place within themselves and also in their environment. So for me, the more impact I have, which obviously best is having one-to-one coaching, but also I do very intimate group coaching, the more excited and the more motivated I get to do even more. So for me, I never like get up and go, oh, okay. It's like, yeah, what's on today? And how can I, do more basically of what I'm doing.
And very rewarding that you're seeing transformation and you're making a difference to your clients. What sets your business apart and what unique need are you filling for your customers?
Yes, great question. So this business is obviously a reflection of me, right? I am my business. And so because I'm quite intuitive, I can adapt and tailor-make very quickly to what my client needs are at the time. So even if we had planned to work on something specific beforehand, because I always ask them feedback, what they want to work on next and so on. And I see their needs are totally misaligned at the time to what we had planned to do, then I will ensure that they get what they need at that time. And for example, I recently launched a small intimate groups and all the participants are male, but it's a very, very small group. And I actually even turned down a couple of people because I didn't feel and sense that would bring to the group. So I'd rather work with a smaller group, but make sure that they are actually well suited to each other and where the trust is going to be sort of, an important factor because they need to be vulnerable and open. And so I refused two people for a different reason. And literally, because they have bonded so well, and they've been vulnerable, they've been able to be vulnerable with each other, which is very rare, right? Especially male. And I feel that it's because I've allowed the space for them to be and they feel the trust and the non-judgmental space. So this is quite important. Alongside, obviously, I am compassionate, I am supportive, and I am authentic. What you see is what you get, and also honest. And yet, if you need to be called out because you're not delivering on what you said you would, I will keep you honest. I will do it. And coaching is about support and the push to the level up, if I may say, when needed. And so, on top of that, I am multifaceted in the sense that because of my previous 20 years experience in corporate and the business I was in, I can really help my client with the business side. Equally, because of my lifelong sort of personal lifestyle, which is, triathlon and healthy lifestyle, I am very well versed in how to help people to increase their energy, which is one of the most important assets that you have in your personal life and in your professional life. And because that's the way we show ourselves, that's the way we portray ourselves to the world. And if you can do that at your best, then everything's going to be a lot easier, right? And so I've always paid attention to what I put inside my body, but also into my mind. And so, because of all this, I can definitely help people with those add-on as I'm doing the coaching with them on the main things they want to be coach. So that's this holistic approach that I have when it comes to supporting my clients in many aspects of their journey is what I feel is also the X factor to the rest.
And it's nice that you are incorporating all areas rather than just focusing on business. You are looking at the whole picture and really digging deep to help transform your clients, which is really, really needed. Can you share some more detail on the kind of service and product that you offer your clients?
Yes, totally. So the reality is most of us are serious monogamous in our life, right? And with life expectancy lengthening, we're most likely to experience 2 to 3 long-term relationships in our life. And because we are also human beings, we evolve and we grow and we have different aspirations as we go through different life stages. And because of this, we will experience a few heartbreak in our lives, unfortunately. So why my service is so important nowadays, it's because there isn't much space given for people to rebuild themselves after a heartbreak. Most people do not hold space for themselves and to let themselves heal in a way. And it is probably the most important stage after a heartbreak. Yet we don't take the time. And this is also when you need the most support in your life because you are at your most vulnerable. This is a big trauma and it has no gender, no age, no color, and no culture specific, right? It can happen to anyone. And holding that space and having someone to support you through this in what I would describe certainly the most hurtful time of our life, when we are shred to bits, is invaluable because it allows you to rebuild yourself in a healthy way, if I may say. And I am a true believer that we shouldn't be doing this journey by ourselves. This is the space to take the time to check in with ourselves authentically and with vulnerability and, asking yourself the question, who am I? Who am I truly? Who do I want to become? What do I really want next? What kind of people do I want in my life? And I see people jumping from one relationship to another, which in the end fail again often.
Yes.
And it makes me feel really sad, really, really sad. So why? Because some people think that they are cursed when it comes to relationship. Well, and some people, when they hear that, may think I'm playing the devil's advocate here. But it has nothing to do with being cursed. I think we are the master of our own life and the choices we make. And the reason why I'm sad is because more people are hurt in the process each time it is repeated because we haven't taken that time to look back. And why does it happen again? Because we first carry our luggage with us from the previous relationship, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We haven't stopped to clear that luggage first of the unwanted, get rid of the poop, if I may say, that we carry. The hurt, the betrayal, the resentment, the reproaches, all this stuff, the stuff that really destroy a part of you, the part that you will need to rebuild at some point instead of burying it under the carpet. And we project it and we bring it to the next relationship. And I know because I've done it myself. And would it not be better if we could start with a totally blank canvas? And why does it fail again? It's because we have failed to stop and look at potential unhealthy patterns that we keep reproducing. Sometimes they are just generational patterns. We don't even realize that. It's just all unconscious. And we think the other person can fix us, fill the void that we have. But realistically, no one can do this for you. You have to fill these gaps and it has to come within you. Once you realize that, the healing process and healthy patterns can actually be created. And why do we fail to do all this? It's because we fail to learn who we really are. And getting to know ourselves sometimes can be painful. Getting to know what our truly deepest desire are, what our values are, what our goals in life are. This is absolutely key. And the real meaningful stuff allows you to look back and learn the lessons of why things didn't turn out in a positive manner in that specific relationship, for example, and take full responsibility in each relationship that we engage, because each relationship we engage, we have an impact and we have a part to play. And it's at least 50% of that, of any interaction we may have. You know, it doesn't matter. It could be a colleague, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, a child, or the other half. We have that relationship and that sort of, you know, pull and push. It's a tango. It's always a tango. And we get to, like, literally the way, it's not about just responding to what life is doing or as things pop up, but creating the life in our own terms. So you've got to get to choose the story and how it ends. You are the author of the story. You're not the subject. And by doing the deeper inner work, you are giving yourself time to heal in a healthier way and become a lot more like sort of, or likely to attract the right person in your life, if that makes sense.
It makes total sense, Gaelle. And there are going to be lots of people in this world that need this kind of support. And you mentioned you do that through group coaching and one-to-one coaching. Is that correct?
It is correct. It is correct. And I prefer obviously one-to-one coaching because you know, you can go a lot deeper, but I have still done it quite deep as well with my group. But it remains very intimate. So it's almost like one-to-one because of the emotional work that's attached to it. You can't really just do it with 20 people. It's not fair on people.
I'm really enjoying having a conversation with you today, Gaelle. We have 5 more minutes left of our interview. I would like to know, Gaelle, I would imagine you have all sorts of client success stories. Give me just one that stands out in your mind.
Yes, totally. So because it is, as you say, very personalized service and everyone is unique, I would have a conversation first to see whether I can help this person and whether we can work together. And so in terms of, you know, if I think of a client success story, I literally have, yes, many, but I'll choose this beautiful lady called Natasha. She knew me from a work setting and she approached me and said she really needed help, even if it was hard for her to admit. She was getting divorced from her husband, who was unfortunately perverse narcissist. And so things got quite nasty and she was codependent and admitted it and going to CODA meeting on a monthly basis. She was now a single mom of a 3-year-old who she was starting to lose control of. Work was very demanding as well for her, but not where she had expected to be by now in her life. And she wanted to get a promotion or change internally. She had no friend, no family, no support around her. And one other important detail was she was of Bami origin, so which had impacted her deeply most her life in terms of her belief and generational pattern. So at the time we worked together over 3.5 months, and I kept her honest and said that this, you know, she had set about 3 professional goals and 3 personal goals. And I said, look, in 3.5 months, you can't achieve all of them. Let's focus on 2. So she wanted to be on track with better finance. She wanted to find a voice of authority as a single mom. She wanted to rebuild her confidence, which had been destroyed, and her instinct of healthy foundation. She wanted to work on creating a new role with the aim to ultimately change job. She also wanted to lose weight. And finally, you know, a result that she hadn't foreseen was because of her codependency issues, she worked on sort of rebuilding healthy boundaries, even including with her own family. And in the end, we achieved all of it, apart from losing weight, because she didn't want to focus on that. It was for her comfort food. It was helping her to go through the whole process. But So we stopped working together early February, and she was beyond the moon that to have achieved all those things, because it was beyond what we even agreed in the first place. And she sent me a message about 2 weeks ago and told me that she finally got a promotion and actually got a job in front office after more than 15 years in operation job, which is unheard of, especially at her stage of the career. And this is, as I said, very rare occurrence because I know the business really well. And she went through a lot of different things through that 6 months, and literally things were created for her and then, removed from her. The job wasn't created anymore. So for her to have that, this is really what made me really happy, because she was so grateful to my support, send me a message saying, thank you so much for your support, even beyond the coaching, being there for me. And I want to work with you again as soon as I can. And literally, that's the most successful story I can have, that people come back to you later on and say, look, actually, I even got this, what we worked on early days, but it took a lot longer to get there. And this is what makes me really, really sort of fulfilled and happy.
I can hear that in your voice, Gaelle, and I love a success story. And these are not easy challenges to get through. So it must be so rewarding to you to be able to help these clients transform and get the results, and knowing that you're really making a difference to someone's life. That must be so, so rewarding. Now, we are coming to the close of the show, Gaelle. Can you share with our listeners, how can people connect with you? How can people get a hold of you?
Yes, totally. So they can connect with me on my business Facebook page, which I post regularly, and I'll give you the link. But it's literally www.facebook.com/Life Beyond Heartbreak, just in one word. Or if they can't find it straight away, they can look for me just as my personal Facebook, and that will link into my business Facebook, which is Gaelle Lebray, as spelled as Gaelle, and then last name Lebray, Lebray. So that's probably the best way to find me.
Gaelle, I have really enjoyed a conversation with you today. Is there anything that we did not cover that you would like to share?
No, I think it's all fine. I mean, usually the way people found me has been word of mouth or recommendation, sometimes through my book. But, generally it's been more like word of mouth, and people just keep recommending me. So,
what is the name of your book, Gaelle?
It's called Change Makers, and I can always send you a link if you wanted. If I don't know how that comes across, but I can always change the link, and there's also a link on my Facebook page.
And is that on Amazon, or do people have to reach out personally?
If they want the hard copy, they've got to reach out personally. If they want a digital book, they can go onto Amazon.
Perfect. Gaelle, thank you so much for being my guest today. I've really enjoyed the conversation and getting to know you.
Mark, that's me. Such a pleasure for hosting me. I'm really, really, humble and grateful that you had me today as your guest. Thank you.
The pleasure is all mine. You have been listening to the Brilliance Business Show. Conversations with leading experts in business.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.